Well, let's see how this works. So I'm going to just put this in as part two because my video went off. My husband made a message and I had to answer his message and then the video stopped. So anyway, so this will be part two, continuation. So we were in Wawa and we saw all these birds outside our window, and I saw the biggest raven I have ever seen in my life. I swear it was just like Game of Thrones and a griffin or something like that. It was walking on the road, and I swear it was 2 feet or 3 feet tall. It was just looked massive. It was crazy. We wake up to, I think it started snowing that night, and we wake up to snow the next day, -4 Celsius, and we're driving in snow. There's plows out, and we're a little bit concerned. We drove through snow for probably about 5 or 6 hours. Um, Pretty much after we got a little bit, getting almost to the Ontario Manitoba border, the snow stopped and it was fine. We got to we didn't know where to go. We hadn't booked anything for Manitoba or for Ontario, and we were gonna try. I think it's there's two towns. Dryden is one, and I can't remember the name of the other one. Just sort of Western Ontario. Both of them were full. Like we kept checking. I checked the hotels. They're expensive. Everything's over 200 a night, and they were full. So I looked, and my husband was thinking of going to Winnipeg. Um, as you're driving from east to west, of course, the time zone is changing, so you're actually gaining time all the time. So we gained an hour, and so, but I found this small place just off the highway between the Ontario border and Winnipeg, and so it was called, I think, Cedar Creek Resort. And so I phoned them. They were pet friendly. They had room, and so yeah, I booked it. And as we're driving, we had the Google Maps for it. We're not seeing anything. We're on like this divided highway. There's nothing. There's just woods beside us. And we're like not seeing any billboards or adverts or anything. And we're like, is there really a place? And my stomach is just getting into knots and getting tighter and tighter. And like, oh, did I mess up? Did I book something that's not existent? And I'm just like, oh. But it was a place. We found it, and it was great. So that was awesome. So that was actually, I think, one of our longest driving days. I think we drove for 14 hours that day, and we didn't have many stops because we try to get through the snowstorm, and then we're trying to get to the hotel. I think we had dinner at 9 o'clock that night. Then we went to carried on. We were going north because we wanted to visit his niece, and she's in northern BC. So we took a northern route, the Yellowhead #5, and it's getting hot. So we've gone from snow the day before to now it is hot. So we're getting now into the 30s, and in Saskatchewan, and we get to Saskatoon, and we actually wanted to stop early just because it was so hot, and there was no air conditioning in the car. The dog's not happy, the birds aren't happy, we aren't happy. So we stop in Saskatoon, and it's busy. There's some construction, there's a bridge being built. And we stopped at one hotel, like a Best Western, and they're not pet friendly. But there was a lady there that gave us a list of all the pet friendly. She was from a dog, or she belonged to a dog club. She gave us a list of all the pet friendly hotels. So we just left there. It was busy, and we went to one of the ones, Saskatoon Inn, and it was a big hotel, and yes, they were pet friendly, and they had rooms, and it was a very nice hotel. So that was great. So we had one of our best meals there. They had like a lounge down below, so we unloaded everything. Every day it takes probably 30 minutes to an hour to unload the vehicle, and then again, of course, 30 minutes to an hour to load it back up. So that's all added in our travel time. So got settled in, got the air conditioning on, and then went for a meal, drank lots of water, and had a great meal. Next morning, we're off, and we stopped in this tiny town. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's, I can't remember the name of it. and we went to this restaurant. We had a hard time finding a restaurant, but we found it in a hotel, and we just wanted lunch. And we met a local, and we had actually quite a long stop there, had a meal and chatted with him, heard his whole life story. And it was just a really, really kind of one of those memories of the whole trip. And we carried on, and we stopped just outside of Edmonton at a town called Bakerville. Again, it's hot. It was over 30. And so we just picked a nice motel that had like a little cabin. So always with our birds, it's actually better if we can find cabins, because if they make any noise, we're not worried about them and making noise. It supposedly had air conditioning, but the air conditioning was one of these old window. It was just not very good. It was just more noise than actual cooling. And the fridge was really noisy. Oh, and so it was an okay stay. I did sit outside. They had a chair outside, and so when it got cooler and it was shade and a little breeze, I sat outside for about an hour or two stitching. So that was a nice memory. Oh, and we went to dinner at this local restaurant, which was fantastic. It was Mexican, loco, like burro, like crazy donkey or something like that. It was great. Then we carried on to, wow, can I remember the next place? I think it was, then we got into the, we stopped and visited a friend of my husband's, and then we got all these alerts on our phone. Like in probably 1 minute, we got 4 alerts, and it's all about the Alberta forest fires and northern Alberta forest fires. And so we were like trying to look at the maps, figure out how close we were. We drove right by them and had all the vision of the forest fires. It's just crazy. Visited his friend, and then we carried on, and we were going north and then going to be taking a highway that crossed from Alberta to BC. As we get close, I think that day we got a total of 8 alerts, and one of the alerts said the highway that we wanted to take was closed. So GPS was telling us we could take a highway before that. The area we were going near was being actually evacuated. I think it was called Fox Creek. And so we could see the highway that we call it Google Gloria, wanted us to take. Vehicles were coming out. A few were going in, but most were coming out, of course, because they were being evacuated. We were worried that if we took that highway, maybe she doesn't know about evacuation, maybe we'd get part way and have to turn around. And the northern route was going to add a couple hours anyways. And we'd visited. It was getting late in the day. It's hot, etc. And we stopped at a gas station, gassed up, and decided, do we want to take what we think is the shorter route, but we may have to be turned around, or do we just go with the more northern route? We decided to take our chances. We took the shorter southern route, and we're glad we did. We passed, of course, like I said, the evacuation. All the traffic was heading out. Our lane going in was pretty empty, which is nerve-wracking. But we got through, and because the northern route, I guess, it may have even been closed for all we know. Actually, the highway was closed right there. So we actually just got right on the regular highway and headed out. We got to Dawson Creek, and because of the forest fires, it was so smoky. So it was just smoke. We went to dinner, and you could see the sun being this pink. Like it was, I don't even know what time it was, but it was normal. Like it wasn't sunset, but you had this pink orange ball in the sky, pink, pink, pink. And then we had our dinner, and we look up, and the sun is gone. The smoke has completely obliterated the sun. Our eyes were burning. We had walked to the restaurant, and I had a cough for a few days. My husband felt like he was getting a cold. It was just the smoke getting your whole chest and lungs and throat, and your throat's sore, and your eyes are burning. So we leave that, and next is the flooding. And so there were lots of routes where we had to be careful because it was flooding. So we eventually got down to southern BC, a couple of detours because of flooding, or alternative routes. We were, for the most part, not too much bothered with the flooding, but we could see how high the rivers were. There was one spot we had to go through single lane. They were making sure the bridge wasn't going to be washed away, but we got across the bridge. So, but it was an adventure. We stayed in Kelowna for, I think, 4 nights visiting with my husband's mom. and then we got to hear Nanaimo on Thursday night. Today is Monday. Today is Monday, May 15th, I think. It's the day after Mother's Day. So I spent Mother's Day with my mom, and my husband went back to Kelowna to visit with his mom for Mother's Day. He is now en route back here. So that's why I have the birds. He's going to stay here much longer than he expected, just to miss the May long weekend. We have a May long weekend next weekend, so he doesn't want to compete with the traffic. The traffic, we're not used to it. It's pretty crazy. So that's his plan. That's what I know. So, and since he's like I said, he's going to get back tonight. When I stopped this video, which I paused, but then I left it. So anyways, he just messaged me that he's at Whistler, BC. And so he's heading to Horseshoe Bay. I think it's probably about another hour-ish. He has a reservation for a ferry that is 5 hours from now. He's hoping to get on a little earlier one. And the garbage truck's coming back, so I'm going to pause. Okay, so that's the garbage truck's gone. So I've been stitching lots. My mom, I'm out here because my mom is going to have hip surgery, and her hip surgery, today's Monday, it's on Wednesday. And so I thought best to get this done now. And my husband will be here till a week today. I think he's leaving after the long weekend, either that or the next day. So we're here for a little bit. Hopefully it's supposed to start cooling down at the end of this week, which would be great. I'm sure I'm going to be busy once mom has her surgery. So it's get the stitching in while I can, get my Flosstube done now. And I'm long overdue. And I just thank everybody that I met at Stitch North and all the kind stitch kindness. Hopefully next year I can make something to pass out. This year I just took some chips and some toffee, saltwater toffee. I'll hope y'all are staying cool or getting sun if you like sun. And hello to all the new friends I made from Stitch North, and hopefully some new subscribers. And just everybody have a great stitchy time, and we'll see when I can video next. Maybe I can do it in 2 weeks. We'll see how this uploading goes. So take care, everybody, and we shall see you sometime. If not in a couple weeks, I'll see you when I get back to Nova Scotia. So bye.